He was called a genius, a monster, a revolutionary. Pablo Picasso didn't just make art, he changed what art could be. From Cubism to Surrealism, from painting to sculptures to ceramics. His work is everywhere. He lived more than 90 years, created over 20,000 pieces, and became a legend in his own lifetime. But behind the myth is a story of ambition, reinvention, passion, and contradiction. This is the story of Pablo Picasso. Hey guys, it's Laura here again, and welcome back to the channel, and let's get into it. Pablo Picasso was born in Malaga, Spain, in 1881. His father, Don José Ruiz y Blasco, was an artist and art teacher, painting birds, teaching at the local school, and even curating a small museum. He began training Pablo in oil painting and drawing when he was just 7, and quickly realized his son's talent surpassed his own. Picasso's father also took him to bullfights, an experience that left a deep mark. Bulls, matadors, and the violence of the arena would echo throughout his early drawings and return later in his career, often symbolized through the mythic figure of the Minotaur. At the age of 13, Picasso was admitted to Barcelona's School of Fine Arts, and later enrolled in Madrid's top academy. But he skipped classes, preferring instead to study masters like El Greco, Goya, and Velázquez at the Prado Museum. At 19, Picasso moved to Paris. Life there was difficult. He lived in poverty, burning paintings for warmth, and was shaken by the suicide of his close friend Carlos Casagemas. Out of this grief came the Blue Period, 1901 to 1904. Haunting canvases in cold shades of blue, works like the Old Guitarist depict blindness, poverty, and human fragility. The elongated figure, emaciated and bent over his instrument, conveys not just physical weakness but emotional desolation, while the muted palette evokes a sense of melancholy that pervades the entire period, reflecting Picasso's empathy for the marginalized and suffering. By 1904, things brightened. In the Rose period, 1904-1906, he painted acrobats, harlequins, and circus performers in warm pinks and reds. These fragile outsiders reflected both his fascination with the circus and his own feelings of alienation. He also began signing his work simply Picasso, claiming his mother's surname and stepping into his own identity. Then came 1907, inspired by African masks and Iberian sculpture. Picasso painted Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. It was raw, fractured, and shocking. The women's faces were rendered like tribal masks, their bodies fragmented into sharp geometric planes. The perspective was flattened, as if multiple viewpoints were compressed into a single canvas, challenging the traditional rules of representation. The painting unsettled viewers with its aggression and sensuality, confronting them with a direct, almost confrontational depiction of female sexuality. With Georges Braque, Picasso took these experiments further into Cubism, deconstructing objects and figures into abstracted forms and reassembling them across shifting planes. But Picasso's artistic revolutions weren't only driven by other painters, they were often sparked by women in his life. His personal relationships and his art were inseparable, each new love affair making a shift in his style. In the early 1900s, while Cubism was breaking apart form and perspective, his partner Fernand Olivier was by his side, appearing in many of his portraits. After Fernand came Eva Goul, whose presence softened his angular experiments. She was immortalized in Woman with a Guitar before her untimely death in 1915 left him devastated. In 1918, Picasso married Olga Kokolova, a Russian ballerina. Their marriage brought a dramatic turn in his work. The fragmented energy of Cubism gave way to calm, monumental figures, inspired by classical art. They had a son, Paolo. Though the relationship grew strained, Picasso refused divorce, and they remained legally married until her death. In the 1920s and 30s, Picasso absorbed the dreamlike language of Surrealism. The bull and the Minotaur, figures he returned to again and again, became symbols of Spain, of violence, and of his own tangled desires. By 1927, his passion had shifted to Marie-Thérèse Walter, a 17-year-old whose youthful presence influence transformed his art. She inspired some of his most sensual, curving forms, full of light and vitality, and later gave birth to his daughter Maya. But as Europe edged toward war, that warmth gave way to a darker vision. In the late 1930s, his companion was Dora Maar, a surrealist photographer whose sharp eye and restless energy both challenged and inspired him. With Dora, his paintings grew violent and fractured, mirroring the turmoil of the time. She also documented the creation of his most famous canvas. The moment came in 1937 when the town of Guernica was bombed during the Spanish Civil War. Picasso responded with Guernica, a colossal black and white mural that stands as one of the most searing indictments of war ever created. Horses scream, mothers wail, with dead children in their arms, bodies twist and shatter under invisible force. The bull looms implacable while an overhead light bulb casts an unforgiving glare, a symbol often read as both the harsh eye of truth and the cold gaze of modern technology turned destructive. By stripping away colour, Picasso denied the painting any sense of beauty or distance. The stark monochrome echoes newspaper photographs, making the horror immediate and unromantic, rather than illustrating a single moment. Guernica collapses time, fusing multiple images of suffering into one overwhelming vision. It is not just a painting of a bombing, it's a universal statement of the brutality of war, one that still resonates today. During World War II, Picasso stayed in Nazi-occupied Paris, harassed by the Gestapo, but undeterred, producing art and even writing poetry. After the war, Picasso's life changed again, with Françoise Gillot, an artist 40 years his junior. With her, he became a father once more, to Claude and Paloma. Unlike his previous partners, Gillot eventually left him, one of the few women ever to walk away from his orbit. In the following years, he explored ceramic, sculpture, and monumental public works, including the Chicago Picasso, a 50-foot tall steel sculpture gifted to the city. When it was unveiled in 1967, the abstract steel form sparked controversy. Was it a woman, a baboon, or some mythical hybrid? Many locals hated it at first, but over time it became a defining landmark, symbolizing Chicago's embrace of modern art and the bold, disruptive spirit Picasso embodied. In his last years, he worked with furious energy, producing vibrant paintings and prints that fused old styles with new. His late portraits of Jacqueline, full of bold color and distortion, anticipated neo-expressionism. Finally, in 1961, Picasso married Jacqueline Roch. She remained with him until his death and became the subject of more than 70 portraits, dominating his late period. For Picasso, love and art were never separate forces. Each woman shaped not only his personal life, but also his creative evolution, leaving behind a body of work that doubles as an intimate diary of desire, loss, and reinvention. By the time he died in 1973, at the age of 91, Picasso had redefined what it meant to be an artist. He lived through 2 world wars, fathered 4 children, wrote plays and poetry, and left behind an enormous body of work across painting, sculpture, ceramics, and printmaking. Picasso's legacy is complicated, a genius innovator, but also a deeply flawed man, notorious of his treatment of women. Yet his influence is undeniable. He showed that art could transform reality itself, not just reflect it. His works continue to command staggering prices, with Les Femmes de Guerre selling at Christie's in 2015 for $179.4 million at the time, the most expensive painting ever sold at auction. Picasso once said, "Every child is an artist, the problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up." Perhaps that's the key to the story. He never stopped experimenting, never stopped playing. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into Picasso's life and work, let me know in the comments which artist or designer you'd like me to cover next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next video. See you on the next one. Bye!